Hello, everybody. Mr. Gomez, how are you? Welcome to TFRO,
Doing great. Happy to be here.
talking Florida rugby occasionally. It's been 2 weeks in a row, which is pretty good. I'm getting excited. We have, I think, a great episode today because we're going to bring in players from each one of the high school boys teams. Ladies, girls, we're going to have you some another time. Don't worry. And we're going to have them talk about what is this rugby experience for them in all kinds of ways. So first things first, I'm gonna have to say thank you to our sponsors, Boca Raton, the kids, and Miami Rugby Football Club that are supporting the podcast. Uh, Boca, of course, a long-time club, very established, and they've been champions not so long ago. And they have a great presence in South Florida. Miami Rugby coming from in a rebuilding phase, let's put it that way, and working hard to get back to where they belong. So thank you to the sponsors for supporting. We always need sponsors, and I intend to try to keep this thing going for a long time. This is a lot of work. You wouldn't know, Gomez, because you just show up basically, right?
Right. Of
But
course.
and before we bring in our guest, no, well, I have to bring in my biggest fan, Valentina, my daughter. She is one of the she watches. She must be one of the few that watches actually the whole podcast. Hola, Valentina, cómo estás? There's Roberto, her new dog, very cute. Valentina, no te lo perdés hoy, ¿no? She watches all the podcasts. She's much better than most people in rugby. And she has that beautiful shirt with her name on it. So, gracias, Valentina. I'll see you later, okay? Besos. Bye bye. Okay, Gomez, do some talking now, man.
Hey, give me a chance. you you guys say leave something on the script for me. Yeah, no, excited to be here. I'm always excited to talk about rugby. Really excited to talk to these kids. Um, I think I think there's like a really big gap between um, the youth union and the adult union, and um, I would love to see it in my lifetime that gap be bridged a bit.
You mean one union?
Yeah, so, or perhaps a union of unions.
Oh my God, more.
I don't. I'm not sure what it would look like, right? But
Definitely, they need to be closer. Yes,
yeah.
that's for sure. And so let's go a little bit over the what's going on quickly before we get to the young gentlemen that are waiting patiently in the green room. What is going on? And we actually did not prepare this very professionally, but we sort of know what's going on, right?
Yeah. I
You are
mean,
what?
I watched last week's podcast, right? I listened to Alan, and he talked about Okapi's two teams, and uh, yeah, it seems like a fairly competitive table as always. I wonder how. I really want to. I'm keen to find out. How many of those Cardinal Gibbons kids Fort Lauderdale was able to pick up. You know, it's good to see Tampa U19 still doing well. Can't wait to have that Orlando U19s pop up. Um,
Yeah, apparently they are working on that in Orlando. Finally,
Good.
let's. So we had a very light weekend of rugby this past one, just a couple of games. Um, in one in D3 where Palm Beach took care of Orlando, I think, right?
D
And
two.
and Sorry. Oh my God, I still have the D3 thing in my and then last night we had a very interesting game here of a visiting team from Texas that played against Okapi, which is really cool. I know, like, I think also in Jacksonville that they had somebody visiting. Something that is going
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I saw
That
that.
is lots
A
of
lot of teams coming to a copy. That's really good to see. Right, because Jesuit from New Orleans was there
yeah.
a few weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, hey, like if Key was getting smart, they'd double book and go get a match over there as well. It's a
Yeah,
place
so
to see.
let's go quickly over the division. What's going to be happening, because we're like in the final stages. We have sort of some of the divisions sort of sorted out. This year in D2, we're not going to get into it right now, but we have this situation with Miami Tridents that has been, they're 7-0, but they are, as most people know, they are not participating in D2. They're actually going to go to play D1 in the super regionals and finals. And everybody else pretty much is going to go. This is sort of new. We didn't have that this last year, where everybody goes to postseason minus the last team. So that is between. Oh,
Orlando
sorry.
and Jacksonville.
I'm looking at the table, but I didn't put it on screen. So yeah. So we can see there's a group of 4 or 5 teams there that are on the top. After this weekend, it's going to be a little bit more clear. And D3, we have Sarasota this year, surprising everybody with a clean, how do you call it? Clean slate. English is not my first language. And let's talk a little. You can talk a little bit about FCC, because now that championship is a little bit more clear what's going on D1. You're actually, so people know, you're actually, this full disclosure, you're the coach of FSU.
I am. And hey, I play for Tallahassee too. So,
yeah, you do way too many things, man.
Yeah. So FSU will host UCF, and then Stu is gonna host. We'll know after Saturday. What's up, Kanzi? We'll know what happens probably after this weekend, because we got UF at USF. These were actually a gift from my girlfriend. She found them in the closet. So yeah, that'll determine who goes to STU for the first round, and then winners of that will go on to the final.
Okay. And the D2, by the way, we're looking at my website where you can, and I just want to say this because I've been asking around, and it's amazing, but after 13 years, many people don't even know about the website.
People should check this website out, man, and they should honestly give you everyone should Venmo Charlie like $5. Like, this
buy me a coffee
is amazing. You can go back for so far back and see all the scores of everything. Like, it is a treasure trove of information. Yeah, like, just at least help Charlie pay for the server maintenance on this, guys.
No, that's not very expensive, man. My time
Shut
is
up,
more
Charlie.
expensive.
It's really expensive.
No, because I've been asking around, and some people don't even know it, and even people who know it don't know all the stuff you can find on it, because you can find all the championships going back 10 years. It's not 100% complete, of course, but
it's really good. It's one of the greatest, I think, databases for amateur rugby I've ever seen.
One thing that I like is you want to go and see what's going to happen on any given date. Like
any
this
given
one,
day.
this is 329. They're all the games, man, woman, kids, friendlies. See, and you find out everything. and you click on the details, and you see who's the referee. If this one is not designated, you can even see what the weather is going to be on the day of the game. You have the contacts, the map, information about the teams, and this is a great website, if I may.
Yeah,
So
shameless
anyway,
plug.
let's quickly go over D2. Talk a little bit about this one with 18.
Yeah, D2's interesting, right? Like I think it's still gonna come down to the wire in the North Division. It's just gonna be between UNF and Eckerd, and then the winner of that will play, probably MAU. Ave Maria can mathematically catch up. We'll find out this weekend.
This weekend, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this weekend pretty much sets everything in stone with USF, UCF, and Ave and MAU with the 1 and 2 teams taking on each other. And then we'll see, right? Like it's still kind of up in the air, this promo relegation match, right? Because if we have one less team in D1 AA next year, then I think what we'll do is we'll move the D2 championship to the state finals, and then the winner gets automatically promoted. So that way we have the even 6 teams in D1 AA. I'm sorry, in D1.
That's gonna happen this year.
That would happen. Yes, yeah. If we were to know that we were gonna have one less team in D1 next year, then we would do that to
That is if STU moves up.
Correct.
They're not. So women's is a little bit the same. It hasn't changed. The ladies don't play that much. It's nice to see this year having another team for Miami in the lead, because for the past 2 or 3 years it was Tampa. And let's just check out the U19 boys. The one interesting thing here, of course, this year Agape having 2 teams, which has been hard. And this is the situation right now. Everybody's going to go to South Tech is actually not playing, but everybody's going to go. I'm not sure if everybody or the first 7 teams, they go also to quarterfinals. So the season is not over when the regular season goes.
Yeah, anybody can win in the playoffs.
Yeah. So we'll talk to the boys about this.
That's a real tight table right there.
Yeah, it is.
Does Agape play each other?
Well, they had their game last week, but they were going to have it, last week, but they postponed it.
The pink versus white.
Yeah, so they may play. We have a one date, makeup date, on the day of the national state championships.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean that was it. It was it's a weird situation. And it's funny that the pink is on top of the white, but they have one less game. So, anyway, the other thing that I would like to quickly talk about before we get to our guests that are eager to come on, and so is the public, is they have announced the union, which you belong to as VP of Development, Club Development.
You belong to as well. You're a registered admin and volunteer.
Well, true. But you're one of the bureaucrats, okay?
I am one of the.
So let's quickly talk about the announcement of the state finals.
Yeah, for sure. We're going back to Coco. We were there last in 2021, or no, 2022, I believe. Yeah,
two.
Yeah, 2022. Yeah, 2 fields, 5 games.
8 games.
8. D2.
8 games. I saw you at the meeting the other day.
Yeah.
They were saying 8 games.
There's gonna be a lot of games. All the championships, right? Men's D2, D3, women's D2, the 2 college games, and then the Tridents will be playing
Old White.
Old White. Atlanta Old White.
Yeah, great day of rugby. I would strongly recommend, for people to make plans and go to this event because, it's once a year. It's pretty central. This is actually a little bit in the outskirts of Cocoa. It's Titusville, which is a cooler name for sure.
Titusville.
And the place is
Where
nice.
Daniel Tosh is from.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's really a nice. Some people are complaining. Let's go back to over there
IMG.
IMG.
It was unavailable. All right, it was unavailable.
Yeah.
If you want to complain, right, lodge the complaint against USA Rugby because they took forever to get us a super regional date, and we got to work backwards from there.
Yeah.
And by the time we found out what day would be our state championship, IMG was already booked.
But you know what? I like this place better. The field is not better for sure because those fields on IMG are like perfect. But overall, the environment, I think it's nicer.
Yeah, it's a closer, more
you have some shade,
festival feel, right? I think
there's a
like IMG does have its own separate pros, right? In terms of provided. They gave us a lot of water and Gatorade. I'll say that. But no, I mean, Titus was a great venue. You and I saw each other there in 21 and 22.
I've been every year, man.
Yeah.
To all the finals. So, and the fields are pretty nice. We have a proper scoreboard, which is really, really important when you're following those close games, and you don't know who's winning, so you don't know how to react. I just hope we can get some nice posts on the field to make it look like a proper rugby field. You know how I am about the post. Okay, let's just wrap it up there. We're probably missing some things, but we really want to get to these boys. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring them all in one by one. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hello, boys.
Hello. How's it going?
Thank you very much for showing up. And for the record, you guys showed up early, which many guests do not. So that says something. I think we're missing one guy who's on his way, right? Yeah, the guy from Jacksonville, right? Yeah. He should be in shortly. So let's just go around the room, starting with you, Declan, and you can introduce yourselves.
Well, I'm Declan Quilter. I play for Boca Raton Buccaneers Youth Rugby Club. I've been playing there for 8 years. I just currently finalized my enlistment within the United States Navy. And yeah, I've been go to the next lad.
Okay. Jackson, is that how you say your name? Jackson?
Yeah, Jackson. My name's Jackson. I play for Tampa Crew, and I've been playing rugby for about 7 years, and I still not committed. I don't really know where I'm going to go.
So you're also a senior?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Facundo?
I'm Facundo. I play at Okapi Wonders. I've been playing there for 9 years now, and I think I'm going to FIU. I think.
Okay. What position? You guys didn't mention your positions on the field.
I play flat half.
Okay. What about you, Jackson?
I play 8-man.
And Declan, you look like
flanker.
A forward. Okay.
Yeah, I play flanker, open side.
Benjamin.
Hi, my name is Benjamin Diaz. I play for Key Biscayne Rats. I played rugby for more than 10 years, and for the Key Biscayne, I played for almost 4 years now. And I play lock.
Lock. Okay. With the red scrum cap, right?
Yeah.
I've seen you. Liam Gray.
Hey everyone, my name is Liam. I play for Wellington. I'm the fly half for our team. I've been playing rugby for 13, 14 years now. I don't know, forever pretty much. And I played with Wellington when we just started up when I was really young, and then switched to Jupiter from when I was in about 4th grade to probably 6th grade, and then went back to Wellington after Jupiter folded. And I've been playing for Wellington all 4 high school years, and yeah.
And where are you going?
Oh
After
yeah,
high
I'm
school?
committed to the Naval Academy, United States Naval Academy. I'm going to be playing with Coach Hickey and Coach Velázquez, the backs and forwards coach, and yeah.
So you're gonna be teammate with Declan? Is that
He's
the
gonna
same
be in
place?
charge of me. No, he's gonna be in charge of me.
Yeah, I'm going to be in charge. I guess, yeah, I guess that's true. I'm going to be in
Okay.
charge of him. I'm going the officer route. So after the 4 years at the Naval Academy, I'm going to be officer in the force, and I
Okay,
believe
okay.
Declan, you're enlisting.
Yeah, I enlisted, so I'm gonna be like the grunt.
Okay, I'm not that knowledgeable of that stuff. Cameron Padilla.
Hey, my name is Cam. I play for the Fort Lauderdale Knights U19. I go to Cardinal Gibbons. Junior, first year playing rugby. I'm a prop for them, so excited for this new season coming up.
How long have you been playing?
My first year.
First
time a
season.
newcomer.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're just missing Nick from Jacksonville. He was on his way home from practice. He should be coming in at any minute. Okay, Gomez, you want to shoot some questions?
Yeah. Hey, so I'm gonna start off with Facundo. So like, tell me, Okapi, you're in a pretty unique situation. You have 2 teams. So how is that in training? Like, do you guys, do pink and white train separately? Do you guys know who's pink and who's white, or is it more mixed?
It depends if they went to the beach the day before. You know, you didn't get it.
No.
You go to the beach, you get sunburned, and you go
Oh yeah,
pink.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
we all train at the same time. We all train together, and then sometimes when we do like system or something like that, that's when we kind of like separate. But like players are shifting all the time. Like we have a couple that are set to the pink, a couple set to the white, but there's a couple that can move around and then just yeah. So we all train together.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
Jackson, you've
Sorry.
been you've been with Tampa for a bit now. So you
Yes, yeah.
kind of, I guess you probably then started with like the research, like you probably started with like the restart of the youth team then, huh?
I did, yeah. I was actually our first practice for like middle school, elementary school. I was there. There was 6 of us, and 4 of us are still playing. So that's, I mean, yeah.
Full disclaimer: your dad is the coach.
He is, yeah, yes, sir.
So my question, my question.
How many of your guys' dads are coach?
No, well, Liam Gray, his dad is a coach, and to some extent, right?
Yes.
Let me
sir,
ask
yeah.
you, Jackson, and all this is for either of you guys who have dads who are coaches. Or actually players, did your parents, like, to some extent, like, forced you into rugby or really pushed hard, or was that something that sort of came about naturally?
So when I was younger, I obviously would always go to all his games and watch them. So I already kind of wanted to do it, but like I loved baseball growing up, and so I was kind of reluctant to start. But once I did, I fell in love with rugby.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's taken over my life now. I love the sport, and yeah, like I want to continue playing it for as long as I can.
Well, you can play till you're like 70. No worries. So, and Liam, in your case, and I know a bunch of you have also siblings who play or parents. your case, Liam, is many people know your. I don't know if you have two brothers playing or is it one.
I have two,
And
Spencer and Lewis.
okay, I miss Lewis. I knew Spencer, great player, and your dad also played, right?
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit about that,
Yep,
like
yeah, my
growing
entire
in a
family.
rugby family. You had no choice but to play rugby. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I had no choice. I guess I had no choice, but I don't feel like I was really forced into it. I think it was just kind of what was going on since the start. I was always, ever since this, I don't even remember like when I first played rugby. I just always remember it kind of being a part of my life. And just like Jackson with baseball, I played soccer for a little bit, like for a couple of years, and I was getting pretty good at it. And I kind of had a breaking point where I was like, I had to kind of choose one because it was just getting too hard to pursue both, especially if I want to become great. And I picked rugby because that's a sport that I've grown up with. That's the sport I was born into, and I love it. So it was definitely kind of just a part of my family and a part of my culture, just like kind of being born and my brother's already playing, my dad playing, watching all their games and everything.
Which is really cool. I have the also, as you may know, two sons playing, and as a parent, I did not force them into rugby, but once they did start playing, I mean, it's like, hey, there's
Right.
nothing better. And you were a great water boy. I remember you like being 6 years old with that big afro you had,
Yeah.
being
Yeah,
a
I
great
remember that.
water boy. Uh, I have a question for sorry, Michael. Sorry. I have a question because we're talking about other sports of these two RGs, Facundo, Benjamin. How you guys, because you guys probably love soccer, right? Football.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
guys, or maybe not? How has
So,
that been in terms of playing other sports and sticking with rugby? Any of you?
Well, so here, I mean, back in Chile, I used to do like a lot of different sports. I used to do mountain biking
Oh,
over there in
sorry.
Chile.
You're Chilean. Yeah. For some reason, I defaulted to Argentina. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, it's
no,
okay.
but here in the U.S., like I've only done rugby since I came here, and yeah, I mean, I pretty much stick to it since I got here.
And you've been playing for a long time, right?
Yeah, almost
You
more than 10 years.
my understanding, you actually got to play for the national team, U18s.
Yeah, so currently I'm participating in the U19 Chilean national team, and in November, so I'm training for the November South American Championship uh, that's gonna be played in Paraguay.
Oh, funny fact. I was selected for my Uruguayan U18 teams, and I went to one South American tournament in Paraguay also.
Wow, nice.
What a coincidence. Okay.
40 years ago.
Well, maybe more. I don't know. Okay.
Cameron, so you're the only one without family ties to rugby, right? You're the only one that didn't start playing, before you could form complex sentences. Um, so yeah, like and then you also play for a non-school affiliated team, right? You play for Fort Lauderdale. Like, so what is that experience like? Like, what is that like when you're in school and you like are talking to the guys who are like, I'm going to basketball practice, and you're like, yeah, I got rugby like over at Mills Pond Park.
It's fun. Just you see my friends talking about it a little bit. Some of them they play football, they play basketball, they play soccer, and we talk about it for a little bit. And I'm like, I'm sitting there, I play rugby, and here's the big kid, just playing prop, playing rugby, doing what I love most.
Yeah. So when did you start now? Just in January?
Yeah, in January, because funny part was I told my mom about it, my parents, and they were like all worried about me when I started doing rugby because
Yeah.
because I was the only one in the family because my dad grew up playing football, my mom did track, so it was kind of like scary for them to like hear me start playing rugby. So
Yeah. So I'm trying to. I grew up in Miami, and I'm trying to think of like my youth sport involvement. I did a lot of like fringe sports, right? So like they weren't school involved. And so I wonder, like, what is that like for? I mean, I guess anybody can jump in, right? But like, what is that like for y'all? Like, practice isn't on, at your school, right? You have to now tell your friends, like, hey, I'm doing this other thing. Like, come to my game, right? Like, how do you feel like that separation maybe helps or hurts your guys' teams?
Like it kind of sucks a little bit because like it feels a little bit off because it's like you're telling all your friends like, hey, I'm doing a different sport, I'm doing this, I'm doing and then you're sitting there like, no, all my friends can do all these other things, and I'm over here enjoying my time playing rugby with the new team, with new people. So I'm like sitting there like I gotta like keep pushing.
So that's one very like important topic that you talking about, Gomez, is how do we get more of these kids to play rugby? Because I don't know, many of you may play football at your schools in the football season, right? Or you have played. How do you explain rugby to your football friends, or even friends that don't really play any sport or play soccer, whatever? What kind of conversations do you have to bring them over? Because you should be doing that all the time.
Imagine American football, but more manly.
Okay. Anybody else should go?
I'll
Go
say
for
for
it.
me, to get so I play in football, I play in D line. So I try to get a lot of linemen out, and I tell them, I'm like, you get to run with the ball and score, which in football they don't ever get to do. So that gets a lot of them out there.
But what gets a lot of them to stay?
I think just honestly the overall community and love of rugby. I mean, I feel like a lot of people when they start playing rugby, you fall in love with it. Like the whole.
I'm saying, do you think? I'm asking, like, are there a lot of those kids? Like, I think, like, I mean, you're at Steinbrenner, right? Like, how many kids do you have playing football? 70. How many kids you got playing U19 at Tampa?
Yeah, probably got about 30.
Yeah. How many kids play football in Hillsborough County?
Yeah. It's just it's a hard thing to sell. Like,
you just said it was
no one
easy.
really. Well, I say for linemen it's easy getting out there, but it is a hard sport just because no one really understands it yet, and like it's one of those things where it's if you can get one person out there that normally they can bring another person, I feel like that's how you really build it, is by just trying to get as many just try to find one person who will can really get more and more.
Liam, what is your experience talking to your classmates about coming to play rugby? How do you explain rugby? What is your selling point? Because we have to agree that rugby is the best sport in the world, right? So there should not be many reasons, unless you don't like contact sports, of course. But if you do like, hey, so what do you tell them?
I mean, the best way I explain it to them is by using soccer and football. And I explain how, in my opinion, it's one of the greatest sports of all time, if not the greatest sport of all time, because it has the endurance of a soccer athlete. You're playing an 80-minute game, and also has the strength of a football player. And you have to combine that. And not only that, but there's also a position for everybody. If you're small and scrawny, number 9 is your position. If you're big, then 1-3, that's your position right there. So I think for a lot of people, my selling point is that, especially in rugby in Florida, you can probably get a good chance of starting on our team at Wellington if you just put in the work. And you showed our coaches that you can perform better than the other person. And it's just hard work and a great sport that tests you athletically.
Isn't one of the concerns when you try to explain rugby, because there's a terrible saying that starts with the word rugby is like football, but okay, I think that's the worst service we have done to rugby, because I can imagine immediately in the minds of not only the kids but the parents, football without with no helmets. So isn't that something that comes up? Are you guys crazy? Well, you don't have protection. Declan, do you have that kind
Yeah,
of?
that's definitely something that comes up. Yeah, that's definitely something that comes up because obviously all you need is a mouth guard and cleats and you're not wearing any sort of protection. But the best way I explain to them is like just the rule of high tackling and how the ref really is able to control the game if he sees any high tackles or anything, penalty. And it's very restricted, especially with the new rules where it has to be below the sternum now, I believe. And yeah, so I think I explained to them how it's a lot safer and, you know, there's lower chances of concussions and stuff like that compared to football, American football.
Gomez, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking of like completely unrelated things, right? I'm wondering like how many of you guys played rugby in the fall?
Like league or just like pickup?
I would say like had mandatory or quote unquote mandatory like training sessions like and had like a structured fall, like maybe you had organized matches, things like that.
Yeah, we had preseason and training started in September.
Do you think a year-long approach is the most conducive to retention for maybe like for all age grades?
Well, I mean, it's definitely good because more so in that preseason, we focused more so on building up our conditioning for the coming season and then just working on fixing back up and getting the dust off. But the one thing we do have is obviously you have American football and all those other school sports are still going on. So a lot of those players that come in after that season aren't there until about January time or like December.
What do you guys compete with in the spring?
I don't really think anything. I think because I know
Benjamin, what are they doing at Mass? They're just doing rowing, right?
Yeah, I mean, in Mass, there's like a lot of sports, but it's mainly rowing. The soccer team is really good. We have a lot of rugby players that actually played soccer because the season already ended, and their team was really good. Good basketball team, volleyball, swimming team. Yeah.
And which of those are in the spring?
In the spring, yeah, basketball and probably soccer too.
Okay.
Gomez, in the fall, they don't play much rugby. It's mostly the teams that play the most. I mean, I follow every single game, so I sort of know, and I've seen this over the years. It's mostly Key Biscayne and Okapi.
Yeah.
And they get tired of playing each other, right?
Yeah,
kind of.
A little bit.
Yeah, well, they're also probably the clubs that have the highest amount of rugby-only players.
Exactly. The other clubs sort of rely heavily on the football players ending their seasons, which sometimes, it gets delayed. So,
well, it's better to not sports specify until you're much older. The best athletes played a bunch of different things. Roger Federer didn't get into tennis until he was much older.
Listen, Gomez, you have to play rugby your life when
you do. You do have to play your whole life.
Okay?
I want to see a lot more middle school age kids playing rugby, right? Like Jackson started playing really young, but he's talking about pulling in high school kids to play high school rugby. And I think it's not sustainable until we get why do we have 7 out of 8 guys, have been playing since middle school, right? They're the guys who care about rugby. Great. We're always going to have these, but how do we inject it into more people, more kids, right? Like, how do you have 70, 80 kids at U8, at U8, U10, U12 practice? Fire away, guys. I'm listening. I'm waiting.
I think obviously as rugby isn't, you have a lot of bigger sports that are American sports like American football and baseball and sports like that are really popular over here and very widespread. And rugby's only in the past maybe 30 years started to explode in America. And so I think there's still a lot of people that still need to even find the sport, because I think even when you bring it up to people, they don't even know the first thing about it. So I think with more widespread news about it and putting it out there more and just having more involvement and trying to get school rugby going, maybe even would help really boost rugby's global scale in America.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that part that Declan said.
I would say
you can go, Liam.
you got it.
Go,
All right,
Jackson.
no, I was gonna say, I know after the Japan World Cup, I think that like they said like over 20,000 rugby clubs, or like a lot of rugby clubs started because of the World Cup being hosted in Japan. And now I know Randy on Jackson's team, his brother plays in Japan. He plays rugby, and he wants to go play rugby there too. So I think one big thing that's going to be really grand for American rugby is when they have World Cup hosted here. And I think, isn't there a planned World
I don't
Cup
want to
here?
wait 6 years.
I don't know if it's the next one or the one after.
I don't want to wait 6 years.
Yeah, I know. I'm
It's
just
the
saying that
football
like
World Cup.
after that. Sorry?
It's the football World Cup.
No, the Rugby World Cup is here in
Yeah,
2031.
but I
Oh,
think-
2031. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the Women's World Cup is
2031 they're doing the
29.
Rugby World Cup here, so right. So I think that's going to be a big thing for American rugby. But
Facundo, let me ask you this: what would you say is the main thing you love about the sport over the years?
The main thing I loved is like
What makes rugby unique for you, and you would not, change it for any other sport?
I feel like the community and all the friends I made, like I don't think it would have been the same in any other sport. And I also love like the combination of the things that are in sport. Like there's kicking, there's also tackling, and there's also like a lot of free play. I love the free plays. Like in football, it's way more structured, like way
Yeah.
more downs and everything. So yeah, that's pretty much what I love.
Have you? Most of you guys have played quite a few years. Have you made like good friends among the other teams?
Yeah.
And have you made some not so good friends also?
Yeah.
How is it? Just tell me about any of you. What is the like after the games? Rugby. One of the most, I think, particular things that it has is that you have to go after the game, not only say good game, good game, good game, but actually you should be staying with the other team and having a meal and a drink. When you grow up, you're gonna be able to drink beer, guys. Just hold on a couple of years. And that is something that at least I don't know that happens in any other sport. And it's just because they don't want to do it. I mean, we want to do it, and it's unique to our sport. So what are those experiences after the game? Tough games, because every game is tough. Some are tougher than others. Sometimes you get into a little bit of some fights. How are those experiences after? Is that something that like teaches you having to go and talk to your opponent after the game? Anybody?
I think it's definitely hard to do it afterwards, because during the game there could have been this kid whose head you wanted to just take off, but then at the end of the day, you got to remember that this sport is the gentleman's sport, and you got to go shake his hand for at least putting up a good fight against you. So
Okay. Anybody else? Cameron,
I-
how has that been for you? You're new here, because these guys they've been playing for 6, 7, 8 years. So you just started. Was that something that sort of impressed you at the beginning? Oh, what's going on? We should be talking to these guys. We just beat them up.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Get to meet guys after like one whole like 90-minute match. Just like just get to eat, talk. Have a little like social minute. Just like enjoy, like trying to at least like get to know them a little bit after they're like we just beat them up for like a whole like hour or so. So it just like impresses me how like after a rugby game it's like have just like a meal with them, just drink with them. So it's impressive.
Gomez, you want to go?
Yeah. Hey, who's gonna start coaching the U8s next year?
Or reffing them?
Or reffing? Yeah. Who here's gonna take their first non-player role?
So since I've been coaching the U8 for the past 3 years, actually, when I got to high school, I offered myself to coach the U8s in Key Biscayne, and I've done that for every Saturday that I don't have a match or that the match obviously gets suspended. I've done that, and yeah, I've gotten pretty close to the club and to the players itself.
That's awesome. What do you like about coaching U8s, and what do you not like about coaching U8s?
So I just like coaching U8s is just like makes me remember of how I started playing rugby. Like every coach that I used to have, like I used to look up to them, and currently now like most of them are playing in the first team of my club, or they're playing national team, and it's just like it's good to like see them grow as players from coaches who like national players, and like I love looking like at the coaches, like the prestige of them. But one thing that I don't like, or I don't like as much, is that it's just hard to like make a 80-year-old kid like pay attention to something that you're really invested to, and like maybe they're distracted in practice and they want to talk to their friends while they're just playing rugby.
Yeah, it's gotta be tough dealing with kids. So I commend you for that. That's awesome.
Let's bring up the referees, because I guess you guys have all strong opinions about your referee on game day, right? Sometimes not the best, but
I always say that. I always say I don't know. I don't understand how Key Biscayne and Okapi players catch the ball because their hands are always over their head. Just always ref.
You see that in the Sharks also.
Yeah, it's something about it's you South Americans, man. I don't get it.
That's Italian. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are all part Italian. Come on.
So the question would be with the referees: how do you guys have you learned to like manage your relationship with the referee? Because if your coaches are teaching you well, they should have told you at some point you play with the referee, not against him. Okay. So if anybody wants to bring up some, how they, because many of you are also captains of your team, so you're the one talking to the referee. How is that experience been? Because I know not all referees are the same, of course. So let's hear some good and bad.
I'll say that like it's when you're in the moment. It's
don't say any names, please. Please.
Yeah,
no names, okay? You're talking then.
I will say in the moment it's hard. Like when you're out there, obviously, like if you think a ref makes a bad call, it's gonna upset you. But I referee with our youth teams for sevens, and I referee youth football and much other stuff. And with that, it's helped me realize that like obviously they're not gonna see everything. They're not gonna make the perfect call every time. And also, especially the rugby, like with everything going on, a lot of times the touch judges, they're just parents most of the time. So you got one referee looking at 30 different players. And it's just one of those things you have to understand it's going to be hard and that they all call it a little differently. But I applaud a lot of the referees in Florida. I feel like a lot of them do a great job. Some of them not as much, but I definitely think that a lot of them are pretty good.
Has anybody refereed some kind of game here once at a practice? Something? Have you tried? Anybody? No, nobody. Because you should try. That's a great experience to try to ref just 5 minutes of a practice. and then you'll sort of gain respect for what the referee does immediately. I want each one of you to think of one moment in your rugby careers, long or short, that you sort of remember forever. If you can come up with something, one situation, one game, some kind of try you did,
Cameron, have you scored your first try yet?
some kick you
Not yet.
missed.
I almost did though, but not yet.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
That's-
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
What about have you gotten a real good meat pie? Just a really good poach.
I got a good feeling of the ball though, so that's one good thing I can do. I can get out of.
That's the best one, is when you get your first steal and the ref doesn't penalize you for it because you were off your feet or your hands were in the ruck, and you don't even know what these words mean.
Declan, some memories, one memory.
Probably scoring my first try.
Tell us about it.
I think it was my first year playing, and it was against Wellington, and it was on a line out, and it just kind of came up over the middle, just snatched it out of the air and kind of just scored. That was just biggest moment then, first try in rugby, and so I fell in love with the sport that year, so it was a big moment, I think, then for me to score that first try.
Did you get to play with a team that became champion 3 years ago?
Yes, I was
That
on that
Boca
team.
team?
I was
Yeah.
Yes, I was. Yeah, I was a freshman that year.
How come you
was on
don't
that
remember
team.
something of that final, man? It was really
That
good.
final, it
against-
was a great final, and it was great to win it, especially with a lot of those kids having been upset the year previous, and that whole team was filled with seniors. So it was definitely really big for the chemistry that they had that year and the want and need to win it that they had. So it was definitely very special being a freshman to just see that out of them and then for them to win
Oh
it.
yeah, you had some great players there that year. Jason,
I'd say one great moment. I got it behind me here. This is when we won the
you
veteran
came
sevens.
prepared, eh? You came prepared, eh? Good, good. I like that.
Yeah, this is when we won the veteran sevens tournament, and I really liked it. I mean, Liam's up. I think that's you right there. I'm pretty sure, Liam. And then Nate from
Yeah, that's me.
Nate from Okapi, he's up here too.
Nice.
We have a couple this was just I love this tournament. I mean, we won it all, so obviously that makes everything a lot more fun. But it was nice. I mean, I really got to meet Liam then. I'd already kind of known Nate, but like it was a bunch of couple players from other teams, bunch of Tampa guys. Obviously, it was our team, but it was nice to win it, and it was an awesome feeling, like getting the championship or something, all that type of stuff.
Okay. Facundo.
Probably last year we had a tight game against Key Biscayne. They're pretty much our rivals, but
That
last
semi-final, the semi-final.
minute, semi-final, yeah, last minute.
I was there, man.
There was a penalty, and we were down by 2 points, and nothing. I made it, so then we won by 1, and then we won the final later by 50.
Yeah. I
That
was
was a
at
pretty good feeling.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Benjamin, I hope your memory is not the same one, right? On the opposite side.
No, it's okay.
So, what is one memory you have from rugby that you can?
So I think one of the biggest memories I had for rugby is when we played the tournament, the 2023 MLR Academy Invitational Champion
Okay.
in Boston, and it was the first year that Jaguares got invited to the tournament, and we actually ended up winning the tournament against some really big teams. We go on against SaberCats in the final, a really big match, and we didn't expect the score to be that of a difference between SaberCats and Jaguares. And yeah, I mean, we had a really good team. The chemistry was there. I mean, we played really well.
Yeah, and just to add to that moment. I guess going on those tournaments. I mean, we don't have time to talk about everything, but I think going on those tournaments, that's a very special thing. The same thing as when you're selected for your national team, or in this case, it's basically the state team. That I think is something that you guys always look forward to. Liam, you must have a lot of memories, man, because you've been playing like the most.
I do. Yeah, I do. I've been thinking about a couple for the past couple of minutes, but one of my favorite memories is going to be back in the day, I guess, when I don't think I'm old enough to say that yet, but a couple years ago when I was younger, when I played for Jupiter Sharks, and the Wellington Wizards and Jupiter had a big rivalry going on back then, and I think I was in like U10s, U8s, one of the young divisions, and I would always see my brothers and them playing Wellington. So the U8s, like, we had a little rivalry too for no reason, just because U19 had a big rivalry as well. And I remember they beat us like every year the year before that, and then the one game we had a home game at Carlin Park, and we ended up destroying them in like U10. So that was definitely one of my favorite rugby memories for sure.
You have another one because you mentioned you were thinking of a couple of them.
Yeah, I do have a couple. Probably when I played for the USA Touch team, I played at that, I think it's called the Atlantic Touch Cup. It was in England, and just being able to play like France, and I think we played France, England, we played Wales, we played New Zealand. Like, to be able to play other teams like that at a national level, even though it's just touch rugby, it was like really cool, and it was definitely a great experience.
Awesome. So I'm also gonna a quick response. I just want every one of you to say. We'll start with you, Declan. Who is the biggest? With what team do you have the biggest rivalry? Like, what is the game you most look forward to and beating the other team? Go.
Obviously, Cardinal Gibbons was our rival team for
the
the
gods,
longest time. So I'd have to say probably Fort Lauderdale. And we played them this year, and they got walloped. And I'd have to say Fort Lauderdale now is probably our rival. I mean, I have friends on that team, Alexander and Lucas. I played rugby with them before they went to Gibbons, but they're definitely our biggest rivals. So it was definitely a fun game this past weekend.
Jackson?
I'd say it's between Jacksonville and Wellington for me. Obviously, Jacksonville is the other North team.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to play them. Yeah, Northerner. And then Wellington also, that just comes from when I was younger. They were always one of those better teams. And I just remember when I was in middle school, always hating playing y'all. So.
Okay, Facundo?
Which
Which is the game you look forward to win? Yes or yes? And you go crying if you lose.
Key
Biscayne?
Yeah. Most of us, we've been playing Key Biscayne. We play them like 5 times a year, so
Yeah, man, you play a lot.
Yeah.
So you've been coming?
I'll say the same. Playing against Agapi, we only have Facundo said we only have like 5 games a season actually, against Agapi. So yeah, every time that we play against Agapi, we play as hard as we can.
So you're pretty happy this year that you beat them, which you hadn't done in a while. Sorry, Facundo.
I haven't played any of the 2 matches that we won against them. So.
Oh, you did not? Oh man.
Yeah, I couldn't play.
Maybe the next one. But you guys, your teams are pretty friendly outside of the field, right?
Yeah, of course.
You are, right? Because I have noticed you've been a little bit more aggressive playing as of lately. It's just my view, because I also see you playing all the time. But you are friendly outside the field, right? As it should be. So Liam, who's your desired rival you want to beat? Yes or yes? All of them? No, you have to pick one.
I mean, yeah. As a team, I'd probably say Boca, just because they're the closest to us, and I know a decent amount of guys on that team. Crew's also another one, and yeah.
Okay. Cameron?
Gotta say Boca on this one. Just toughest rivals of all time. Just, you know.
Okay.
Because you haven't played everyone yet.
So, guys, we're going to have to wrap it up. We like to more or less keep it within the hour. So I really want to thank you. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened with the kid from Jacksonville. That's really, he came up. So just so people know, he came up earlier. He was driving home, but he didn't come back. So I don't know what happened. So I just want to thank you guys a lot for coming, and I'll just give you one last. Let's go one last round of anything. I would like you to sort of talk to somebody who is on the fence on playing rugby. What would you tell them about the sport that I want you to invite people to play rugby. Why they should come. And let's go with Declan first because it's just easier.
I mean,
and sorry. If you want to give some shout outs, do them now, okay? To girlfriends, parents, kids, I don't know, whatever you have.
Shout out to Boca Raton.
And you want to give a message to your
I'd say this sport is the greatest sport in the world. You're not going to be able to find a sport better with everything it brings together in every category between both strength and brains while playing it. And the community and the camaraderie you make while playing this game on that battlefield of a pitch, it's the greatest sport you'll ever play, and you won't find one better.
Okay, good. Jackson? Hey, let me. Is your dad just next to you, right there? Is he in the room?
He's not. No, okay. He's probably watching it. But
I was going to invite him over if he wanted to say some words.
Nah, it's just me in here. Okay. I'd say. Well, first, shout out to the whole team and shout out to our captain, Cole's brother. It's his birthday, so that's why Cole couldn't be on today.
It's a good day to have a birthday.
Yeah, man, it's a good day. It's Gomez's birthday also.
Oh, happy birthday!
Man,
happy birthday!
You're a hero, man. Happy birthday.
Appreciate it.
And then I'd say for people on the fence, I'd say just get out and play. Like, I feel like everyone, once you play, you fall in love with it because, like Declan said, it's the best sport in the world. Like, you get to do everything in the sport, and I know if people come out and give it a chance, that they'll love it.
Okay, great. Facundo? Any shout out? You have a lot of fans.
I want to shout out.
You have a lot of fans in the chat room.
Yeah. yeah. The link was passed around in the Okapi group chat, so yeah. I want to shout out to Okapi Pink. Yeah, and Okapi White as well. And also to anybody who's on the fence, just to try it out because most people don't know what really rugby is here. But once they try it out, they really like it. We have a lot of guys like that. So yeah, that's just it.
Okay. I'll say that rugby teaches you like a lot of values that you can't find in any other sport. Teaches you how to play against people that after the game you really need to like be friends with, and like you get in touch with them after the games and you became friends, and like it's a really good sport because of that, and also because of the roughness of it and the physicality of it. You can't fight it in any other sport. I really think so. And also shout out to the whole U19 rugby team, to whole Kiwis game, and also shout out to the coaches, Benja, Javier, Denis, Seba, Mariano. Thank you for making us make us able to practice every day and come to the practices and help us become better players.
Great. You were the only one that remembers your coaches.
Love
That's
it.
good.
I love it.
Yeah.
Come to
Clap.
FSU, Benjamin.
Liam.
Yeah, I'd say if you're someone that's on the fence about playing rugby, I would say yeah, just like Jackson said, just come out to practice, try it out for one day. Like that's all I want you to do. Come to one practice, dedicate 2 hours of your time to one practice, and I guarantee you'll be back next week. So yeah, I'd say that, and then shout out to Coach Alex, shout out to Coach Derek, Coach Jared, Coach Zion. They put in a lot of work, and obviously they don't get paid for it. Shout out to you, Charlie,
Thank you.
for being able to, video set up. I know you're the one that organizes all the filming and everything, and I know you're the one that gets all the scores on the Rugby Florida website. So I know that's a lot of hard work. So thank you for that from the rugby community in Florida. And yeah.
Say hi to your brother and your dad.
Yes, sir.
Cameron.
I want to give a shout out to my family, especially to my coaches, Coach Justin, also for the Fort Lauderdale men's group. I want to sit there and say it's a fun sport to play. That's probably one of the best sports to ever play. And again, nobody understands it, but it's a really fun sport. Get to meet new people, get to have fun. So just come on and support.
Okay. Gomez. So happy birthday, Gomez.
Sure. Thank you.
How old are you, man?
32.
Oh man, you're really young. I'm like twice that age, almost. Okay. So guys, I'm gonna play a little video before we leave, so I want you to stick around. And that is something that as we're coming closer to the finals, that is something that everybody's looking forward to, what you're gonna see in just a minute. I also want to thank the sponsors, Boca Raton and Miami Rugby, support these clubs, and I really appreciate that they came out to sponsor. This is a lot of work. I'm also gonna say goodbye to my daughter, that she's always watching this. Hey, Valentina, ¿cómo estuvo hoy? How was the podcast? Was it good? Yeah? Fun, huh? I told you it was going to be fun with the kids because we had a bunch of old guys last time and she just didn't enjoy that much. But she likes the kids. Gracias, Valentina. Okay. I'm going to play this little thing. And with that, we're going to say goodbye till next week. Thank you for everybody that's been watching and commenting. I couldn't really put in a lot of comments on the screen because it's sort of hard, but I appreciate it. And again, thank you guys. Thank you, Gomez, for being here on your birthday. I'll send you a little present later. Okay. So we'll just watch this as we leave. Thank you again, guys.
Thank you, Charlie.